Well, New York Liberty fans, it's going 5. Now, I don't know if y'all thought it was going 5. I know I thought it was going 5. And here we are. But before we get too into it, and we're going to break this one down, let's just hear what Stewie had to say.
In a series, there's gonna be momentum shifts. There was momentum shifts in the game tonight, but mentally, understanding what's our ultimate goal, how are things going right here, and knowing, like Sandy said in the locker room, we haven't won anything yet, we haven't lost anything yet, and we have the opportunity to do that Sunday.
Gotta get up, gotta get up,
gotta get up. Hey, women's basketball fans, welcome to Gotta Get Up, a podcast for New York Liberty fans, brought to you by Black Rosie Media and hosted by Erica L. Ayala. All right. I mean, Brian, you were in the building. This is going 5. And we definitely have some things to talk about. But like Brianna Stewart said in that clip, they haven't won anything. They haven't lost anything. And it is the WNBA finals. Brian, you got in early, back in Brooklyn or back in New York. I mean, just let's get your reactions. What were the emotions at Target Center during Game 4?
So there were a couple things. Afterwards, I really liked the just sort of general calm that the Liberty had, from PR to players and everyone. It's like, okay, we didn't get it tonight, but we going back to our house. We gonna get it. Like right. Stewie and Sandy being like, we're gonna get it back to home court. We're gonna get it done. Like, I love confidence like that, because I think sometimes, like, we joke about it a lot sometimes, where like fans get so anti and paranoid. It's the Mets fans and a lot of us, where it's like, oh my God, this thing is about to collapse. Oh, what the hell? And it's like the players and team are like, okay, we wanted to, but we got the swing one in Game 3. Now we're coming back home. We got our people. We got 18,000 waiting for us. Let's go and get it. Like, that confidence, I think, is so hugely valuable. And I think it allows them greater perspective. Because I think sometimes when teams lose, like, the blame game may naturally happen, or frustrations may sort of bleed out. I didn't get that sense at all. It's like, okay, we know what we did wrong. We know what we can do better. I think we know the buttons to press and the advantages to press. Let's take a day, do our rest and recovery, come back at it Sunday night, and then let's see what we can do. So I love that.
Yep, exactly. And we're going to hear it because I have a few clips that we're going to play. But this New York Liberty team, yeah, of course, who wouldn't want to win in as few games as possible? But I think also, and I kind of alluded to it, they know that this is a series, and let's keep it real. I mean, this is a Minnesota team that's really, really good. Mm-hmm. And Brian, I know you were in the building, but on the broadcast, for those of us watching, I watched the full game earlier today. Hey, Aloysius, that's right. It's for all the marbles. Amir, it's our time. Let's effing go. All right, let's go. That there were conversations on the broadcast about how Minnesota felt that they were overlooked all season, and like that disrespect CT narrative, they were pumping that hard pregame, halftime, like, and that is poster board material. Like, that's the kind of stuff we talk about right now, to the effect that Minnesota was all in their bag. I mean, Cheryl Reeve did say it after they won the Commissioner's Cup and stuff like that. That does motivate you. But what else is motivation is, and we're going to hear from Stewie about this later in the episode, but I didn't realize this, but the anniversary of the Game 4 loss was actually yesterday.
Funny thing about that, like, Sandy was asked about it in pregame, and Sandy gave the, man, why are you asking me that chuckle? And she's like, it's 2024. And I'm like, I got, by the time I got to the arena, it was past pregame, so I went to the court. So I watched it back, and I just kept like laughing when she said that. I was like, Sandy, I feel you, dog. Like,
right.
Why are you talking to me about like my ex and my past thing? I'm on my new thing now. Talk about that.
Not talking about my ex. That's hilarious. But yeah, like I mean, there's a lot of juice, so to speak, to a lot of the narratives here. And we read that quote from Sabrina that I know a lot of fans reacted to. And to your point about fans, though, right? Like, I mean, someone's gonna win regardless. It would have been nice if it would have happened for the Liberty in game 4, but that's off the table now. It's off the table. But like Stewie said, it's not off the table to win outright. So you can't get too worked up. You also can't overlook, Brian, some things that were pretty critical in this game. Before we get into what was good, what was bad, quote unquote, we got it. I mean, because we listen with Misha, we went over the lead tracker, and that
Mhm.
thing was
Down, up, down,
desperately
down.
lacking seafoam. This one is literally like a roller coaster.
Ah,
We riding that side
right.
one. That's crazy. This is crazy.
Yeah, this was like the wild part about it is that every time like the Lynx would hit a big shot, the Liberty come right back and hit a big shot. Like there's like one sequence where I think Minnesota got a 5, JJ scores in the post, and then Leo scores a 3, tie game again. The Liberty, you think they're about to make the big knockout run, Minnesota comes right back. Lance Smith hitting big corner threes, like
Mhm.
that. Like I think I might have said it last time, but man, this like, can I just ball this up and just like stay in this series forever? Like, it's been so
Forever.
great. Like, I just love everything about this. Like, and I think however this goes, I don't want to have this choke, whatever. Like, this is just great ball both ways. Everybody
Exactly.
balling out. You see superstars having big moments, role players having their shine, new faces coming on the scene. It's like everything you love about professional basketball and sports has been at display in this series,
In
and
this series.
so good. Like I just can't stop raving about how awesome both these teams are.
I agree. I 100% agree. And that's part of the reason why I was like, yeah, we're going 5. We are going 5. Jen says, bring it home literally. And finally, that is the goal. That is the mission, Jen. And that is the task at hand. Let's talk about what went right for Minnesota. And again, we're kind of using these terms, but Brian, it really might just be us breaking down the game. But
Mhm.
from the Minnesota perspective, what did you feel went right for Minnesota for someone who was there?
I thought that Lan was not going to be able to give him much of anything, and she gave him 30 solid minutes. Like Lan was out there battling and doing the best she can, and
Mhm.
in pregame, Cheryl mentioned that she was going to play Dorka, and Dorka gave 9 solid minutes.
We talked about it. I think you
Yeah,
mentioned it, right, on the
yeah,
pregame podcast.
yeah. Because like after Game 3, when the Liberty essentially like forced their big deadline acquisition off the court, it was wild that the variance in that game was so wild that they were able to successfully drop their sixth player and just get her out in the biggest moment of the season. That's really wild to think about when you put it in
It's
perspective.
it's giving what is her name? Julie the Cat Gaffney, which is also a Mighty Ducks reference. We were talking about Mighty Ducks before we hopped on. But that probably went down in Minnesota as well, because that's where the Ducks were from. But yeah, no, I think it's and she comes from that UConn pedigree. And they talked about it again on the broadcast a lot. Maisha Hines Allen being kind of like the Kia Stokes liability in this series. And so going to a big off the bench and having that be someone that Stewie or whoever, can't ignore. Like they have to front them offensively and how that can open things up. So that was, I think, a huge, um, small, slight, but pretty significant change for
Mhm.
Minnesota. And I love that you talked about that on our, preview episode. So I was like, yo, Brian was like, yo, have we seen US yet? And I was like, I think for a little bit, you called that. You freaking called that. Amir saying the refs is what went right for Minnesota. And we are definitely going to get into that. I want to hold that point for just a minute because I have it in our show notes, Brian, as what went wrong for New York. So let's just stick into that headspace, but I'm gonna explain why it's a little more salacious probably than even I'm comfortable with. But what do you think went wrong for New York?
I thought that might have been the worst Stewie game of the playoffs. It
Mm,
felt like it was a bad replay of game one. And I think the reason why I could be so frustrated with that because we've seen you make the right play in the exact same situation. Like game two, like oh, you're driving to the basket. Minnesota has tons of help coming your way. You kick out to the corners multiple times. Like she did it. And then in game three, she's able to make the right play. Even on the three that rimmed out in the last minute for Sab in game three, Stewie's on the drive, hits her perfectly in her shooting pocket. Like you did it. And then last night, I put in our Slack channel. I was with Lucas Kaplan, and we were talking about it during the game last night. Like the drives were there, and then she's shooting over like four people, and then Leo is spaced. I think it was Court who came to help, and Leo is wide open on her strong side. You just make that one pass right there, and it's Leo was on fire. That's 3 points right there. And then, I have to watch back the game again in full, probably a little bit later tonight. But like even in the first possession, she's shooting, she's rising up over two people with like 6 seconds on the clock. And who's spaced out in the corner, wide open? Sabrina Ionescu. Like
yeah.
the idea is there, like you want to get to it, you want to get to where you got to go, but at the same time is you've handled this defense, like you've seen it. Like Leo's talked about it in both post games, where it's like in both post game losses, like we know how to handle switches. We've done it.
Right.
They know how
Right.
to do it. You just have to do it.
That part. And for me, that's what it was. I saw fatigue in this New York Liberty team. Like on the one hand, I love that they were clawing back, and we're going to talk about the players that I think helped anchor this New York Liberty team a little bit later in this game 4. But I just saw fatigue. So what you're talking about from Stewie, and Stewie, we're going to hear from her in the post game clip on today's episode. I think you're right you hit the nail on the head about the decision making. And some of that was because, in Stewie's own words, she was sped up. That's one thing. Sab, she talked a lot about being up all night, answering all 200 text messages. I'll be like, baby, next time, respectfully, maybe you got to listen to hubby on that one. Put that thing down. Get somebody to respond. Be like, listen, Sab will get back to you in 2 to 3 business days because we got work to do. You feel me? Like, of course, I don't know. I don't want to say of course. Let me make it clear. I am joking. These are jokes. I'm not here to tell Sab how to live her life. I'm making a correlation just between something that we know she said she did and the fact that she looked drained. But of course they're tired, Brian, right? Of course they're tired. So on the one hand, I'm not knocking them for being exhausted, for being gassed. They had to crawl back into that game. She made a huge 3-pointer. Like, we saw her go to a completely other realm with her eyes, which was wild also, because on the broadcast, when you listen back, Brian, you're going to have to listen to this. There was a something where they were talking about Sab's father and saying like, oh, she goes for the kill. And he's like, no. She doesn't go for the kill. She goes for your soul. And I was like, oh my. Spooky season has arrived. But that Sab wasn't there, Brian. We didn't see
It's kind of wild.
those killer instincts.
Yeah, so like from my vantage point in press row, like we were almost like center court, but like higher up. So on the final possession, where Sab is coming off the curl, from our vantage point, I'm like, this looks online. Like this looks online. And then it was just a little bit strong, which because 2 seconds and you're fading against heavy defense, it happens. So
Right.
it's like, but still, like the fact that she can draw enough fear in the building that whenever it goes up, it's like, oh my God, it might happen
It has a
again.
chance.
Yeah. So I feel like that gives her confidence. And I think for Sabrina, I think it's the same thing for her. It's like when you're able to sort of get downhill, because I think she had a couple layups last night. No
Yeah, she
threes,
did.
which was the first time in
She
a long
did.
time that she's gone a game
Yeah,
without.
in like what, 20 some odd games, 23, 24, 25,
Yeah,
something like that. Something
yeah.
like that. That's wild.
Yeah, so I think for Sab, like the process is, hey, start in the paint, work your way down there. They're gonna have to overcorrect for you out there, gets you those threes. And I think also just like you just gotta stay with it. Like I remember like a lot of discussion post game was, oh, she didn't score after halftime. And it's like she was fine. Like she made the right
Yeah,
plays. Like she did what she didn't do.
she
Like
did.
it's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, and like I think for the Liberty, it's I feel like the game flow is gonna dictate whether Sav is more of a distributor or is it
yeah,
more it's time for me to go get it. Because I think
agree.
that I think Sav, with the exception of the second quarter of game one, I think she struck that balance fairly well of, okay, my shot is not there. Let me like I'll find JJ. Like JJ's running to the
Right.
basket. I'm gonna get it in there. Nyara's rim running to the rim, rim running to the cup. I'm gonna get her. Like stuff
Yep.
like that. She has a good feel for. So I think in a game like this, especially being back at home, I like the process that she's had in the past couple games. So I think it'll be good for her to sort of just get back home, get that day, and then sort of like see how you can make the final adjustment for this Minnesota defense, and then do what you need to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jen, and we know Benaja, we weren't gonna everything that we knew about Benaja coming into this series, I think we were hard pressed to expect her to have that game, like she had in, what was that, game 3? 2? Okay, game 2. Yeah, I'm like, all of it's blending together. So yeah, but Benaja, she focused very much on her defensive efforts in I think the last 2 games, where we weren't seeing her open things up on the offensive side. And I want to get to this. Damien, Erica L. Ayala, you got what you wished for. First of all,
Hey,
First of all, that's all right. That's all
hey.
right, Brian. I got it. Don't worry. But I appreciate you. But I got it. I ain't wish for this. I, as an analyst and someone who covers the New York Liberty and the WNBA, including the Minnesota Lynx, because I appreciate that. I'm gonna give the homie Lucas a shout out, because Lucas came up to me and he's like, Erica, like you've been one of the ones that was like, yeah, Minnesota's dangerous, abso-freaking-lutely, because I saw that Commissioner's Cup in May and I was like, all right, we gotta keep an eye out on that. So I appreciate Lucas for saying that. I did not wish for this. I did not even predict it. I guess technically you could call it a prediction if you want. I looked at the information in front of me and I came to a conclusion. We would get New York Liberty and Minnesota Lynx. When I came to that conclusion, I also knew that because these two teams were so evenly matched that we were going 5 games. And before the playoffs, it's on record on CBSSports.com. When I was asked to make a pick for who was going to win the finals, I said the Minnesota Lynx. I sure did. And then, since we got into playoff mode, since we saw New York Liberty get through Vegas the way they did, I have since said consistently New York Liberty in 5.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you ain't want a game 5. I didn't say I wanted a game 5. I said, if you're asking me from my professional opinion, what's going to happen? That's what's going to happen. Did I want it? Absolutely not. But here we are, because if you look at these two teams on paper, if you look at their film, and dang sure, if you look at how this series played out, how could we not go 5 games? There is no way, Brian. I would never put money on you trying to tell me that a Cheryl Reeve coach team is going to lose 2 at home. I'm not putting money on that.
Yeah.
I'm not putting money on that. And that has nothing to do with, and Sandy said it, we're actually going to hear from Sandy shortly before I go on another rant, but Sandy said it, there is respect for Minnesota. You have to respect Minnesota, period. This ain't going to be no cakewalk. And the New York Liberty have earned respect as well. So yeah, it's going to be a drag out, knockdown, whatever you want to say, game 5 series. And if we had 7, it would probably go 7-2. Come on, we getting good basketball here, baby.
Yeah. Like, I think that if anyone, I feel like everyone we talk to has enough sense to be like, this wasn't going to be easy. Like, it was never
No.
easy. Like, especially like the deeper you go, the harder it gets. And now this is the toughest contest that they face all season. Like, every other team, like if you put any other team in this matchup, I say the Libs win in 4. Like, they run through them. Like, they ran through Atlanta. Vegas tried to keep up in the 4th. They faded out. Like, it was over. 4. This one, you see the battle. And I guess thinking of like fatigue in a sense, I wonder if you're sort of thinking what I'm thinking. I feel like I wonder if I guess fatigue plays a role, because for Minnesota, they came through a second round drag out with the Sun that went the full 5. Now they're doing the full 5 this time. I guess in a winner take all game, like, fatigue just goes out the window. But I wonder if a point where it's like you try to tap the reserve and then it's just not there the way it needs to be, and that could be enough separation for New York to really sort of like try to get to where they need to go.
It's an interesting question, because in some ways that's, I think, maybe what we saw in game 4. Did the New York Liberty go into game 4 talking about, oh, well, if we don't win tonight, we can always go back to Brooklyn? Of course not. But sometimes when there's a lot of emotion, which clearly there was, when there's a lot of juice, a lot on the line, what your mind and your body can do in concert, they don't always align. They don't always align. And see, I want to get to that Stewie clip later, but I just remember that I said that, because you can be too amped up and then your body's moving quicker than your mind, or vice versa. And then you can also be so amped up emotionally that you fatigue yourself physically, which, again, I'm not going to put this on a player like, let's just say, Sabrina Ionescu. But if she were to say that at some point down the line, when we get to the other side of this title run, I wouldn't be surprised if she's like, yeah, like I that kind of wiped me out. That kind of wipes me out. These things happen to human beings under in high stress situations. Let's keep it a buck. A professional athlete has a high stress, physically demanding job. And that's on top of all the other stuff that they got going on, which is something that we talked about a lot with the New York Liberty last year. Like, in a perfect world, we don't want, Stewie missing layups, missing free throws, losing in game 4s. Of course not. And like, she's a dang human. Last I checked, as far as I know, she ain't said nothing to contradict that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, especially now, you can analyze the game, but only to an extent. And that's how I'm taking this. This is a series for a reason. Like we played that clip. They didn't win anything last night. They had a chance, but they didn't do it. Okay. But you know who else didn't win anything last night? Minnesota. Did Minnesota win the championship last night or not?
Nope.
They sure didn't. The title's still up for grabs. So nobody won anything last night as far as, finite championship, and nobody lost the championship. So game 5, and we're going to get into this a little bit later because I want to move on to what Sandy said. Game 5, all bets are off. I feel like I'm, doing the monologue from Scream 2. All bets are off in the sequel or in the trilogy, right? All bets are off. All bets are off. We don't know what, like, people could be overly emotional and that makes them hit another galaxy with their game. You just don't know. That's the exciting, that's the entertainment part of it. That's also the gut-wrenching part of it for whoever loses, and for their fan base. So it's crazy. And I see we have some comments. I want to get back to some of these comments, but there's one I want to get to right now because we were asking what went wrong for New York, what went right for Minnesota, and maybe the answer is the same for both. The is what went right for Minnesota. And we got a spicy Sandy Brondello, which, Brian, you alluded to it, like in familiar company. She might go here, but she
Yeah.
doesn't often
It
go
was a lot,
all the way
it was a lot of
live.
it was a lot of strangers in that room last night. So
Yeah, she don't always, when she out in public in mixed company, she don't always go all the way live, but she had some things to say. Let's hear what Sandy had to say about game 4.
Down the stretch there, you get
Oops, hold on.
rebound late
There we
and
go.
decide to play through rather than call a
Oh,
timeout.
I did want to
What are you
talk about
thinking
this
there?
too.
What are you seeing in terms of where the offense is spaced?
Yeah, I actually was trying to call a timeout, but they didn't hear me, so that's on me. But yeah, wasn't our best possession. It was loud in here. I don't know, maybe I just have to sprint out in the middle of the court next time, so I got to be better. But look, I will say this, and I look at the thing here, and I know Cheryl talked about it last time, but we got no calls today. So do I need to talk up in a press conference? Because they were getting ticky-tacks, and we went down there, then got hit and get nothing. It was like 12-6 at halftime, and they tried to even it up near the end. It was 14-9. No, all we want is fair. Okay, so if we're getting hit, that's a foul. And I'm one of the nicest bloody coaches in this league, but this pisses me off. Just be fair. If they're getting hit, it's a bloody foul. But in the end, close game. Things we could have done a little bit better. We all could have done better, including me getting that timeout. Sorry, shouldn't say that. Don't repeat it. But so we just have to go back to New York and win.
I mean, that is really that simple. Also, I'm gonna go back on this clip because just listen to Stewie's like non-committal laugh on this is hilarious. Hold on.
But so
Brianna,
she's like,
the funny thing about Brianna Stewart is that she is low-key hilarious in presser.
she's so funny. She's
like,
so funny.
There'll be times when people will ask her like 10 questions in a row, and then like there was one, I think it might have been game 2. Miles asked Sabrina a question. She's like, "Thank God, thank you, Miles." And I'm like, "All right."
Yeah, she's like, "Can y'all please?" Because she'll be up there with Sab, JJ. I mean, I don't even know. She could be up there with Jesus, and they still ask Stewie all the dang questions. And she's like, "Can y'all please? Can y'all please?" She's so funny. She's so funny.
I like Sandy. You could cuss it. You could have cussed in the post game response.
She's so funny. She's like, because she knows that that's not usually how she is.
Also,
When she said, "I'm one of the nicest bloody coaches," oh man, she went full Aussie on us.
it's I was thinking about it. She's the only coach this year to not get a technical foul at all, which is amazing. Because like Sandy be getting at the ref sometimes. Like there was one moment in Seattle when she was trying to call a challenge, and then the referee was like not paying attention. Then she just like stared him down. It was like, "Hey, I'm calling this here." So Sandy, like I love Sandy. She's like Sandy will just like she'll give you like I feel like with her, like she'll just give you what she's feeling, and I feel like that helps a lot. And I think also Sandy one great thing about her, I'm just sort of like thinking big picture, and I'm circling back to the Mercury loss in 21 when she sort of like went when she took the hit for everybody in that post game presser. Like Sandy will be like, "Okay, if I messed up, I messed up." Like
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Oh, that was when they broke DT allegedly assaulted a door.
Bam.
Allegedly, and nobody showed up for the post game. That one. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that one.
Like, they really left her out to dry, and then we're like, we're moving on. I'm like, y'all are trash for that. But anyway, I digress.
Like for Sandy, I think, and Sab and Leia were talking about it in their post game. Like, it's great to have a coach that takes accountability because it shows that, okay, if I didn't do something right, that's on me, and y'all see it. I see it too, and because like stuff like that helps you keep a relationship. Because if you have a coach who's always like, "Oh, it's player's fault," I told them what to do.
Bill Lambier, what? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I just had a tickle in my throat.
Yes. Oh, I done told you how to do this, and it's like, come on, dog. You you perfect? Like,
Right.
did you coach the perfect game tonight? I don't think so. So having that, I think, helps a lot. And I think also just like Sandy cussing broke the ice with Stewie a little bit in that laugh. I'm like, all right, she's relaxed. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Because she was trying to be like stoic, and then Sandy did that, and she wasn't completely ready to let go, but she was like, okay, that was funny. And
yeah. And I also
then
love,
JJ like
yeah,
rubbing her back.
yeah. I feel like they've really. We talk about it a lot because I remember last year the whole discourse about care and all that jazz. But like, this is a team that's like they ride for each other. Like you, like
Also,
this is a
I see Ronnie in here. I just want to say hello, Ronnie. Thank you for saying what's up. Thank you for coming through.
Yeah. Like this is a team that has each other's back. Like they won't throw each other under the
100%.
bus. Like they'll stick up for each other. They'll make sure that everybody's in the best position. Like that stuff goes a really long way. And it's one of those things you sort of like can't it's like you can't teach it. It just comes naturally within the flow of like working with people and being around people. So I feel like that part is very valuable. And I think is the thing that's sort of like cohesion comes through because even last night, like it wasn't their best game, but they were never out of it. It just took like
Exactly.
yeah, and like and tight atmospheres with heavy opposition from the opponent and the fan base in the city you're in. It's like okay, we're here. We got to do what we can. We stick
Yep.
together. We trust what we're doing, and then we gonna do something solid.
Exactly. And I want to stick with Sandy, what she was saying, because I know she's gotten criticism on social media for being like, oh, that's not why you lost the game. You know what? I agree that I agree that what am I trying? I want to make sure I'm very clear with my words here. First, let's just go to some facts. The New York Liberty were 100% from the free throw line, Brian, on 9 attempts. On 9 attempts in an elimination game where they had the front foot. Okay. So how many did Minnesota shoot? And Sandy talked about some numbers, but if I'm not mistaken, Brian, the final tally was 9 at 100% for New York and a 75% clip at 20. That's more than double. Like
Yep.
I'm not great at math, but I think I know that
Yeah.
9 is less than 10, which means that they had more than they more than doubled up the amount of free throw attempts for Minnesota in an elimination game 4.
Yeah, like the big discussion after the game was on the box top foul, which I guess like when you slow down and when you have enough angles, Sab kind of hooks Bridget enough there. But there was one play, like I missed it in real time. Like I just thought it was just an offensive foul. But Gabe Zoda of SSN Liberty had the view of from above where JJ got an offensive foul and she's just in the post. Like she's in the post.
She's
Like
posting up.
yeah,
Yeah.
she does the move. She loses
Yeah.
her balance, and then it's an offensive foul. And if that's an offensive foul, then you cannot play low post basketball anywhere because that's going to be a foul every time.
That was wild. Yeah. And I mean, I've been thinking that in her in the clip we just played, Sandy talked about ticky tack. There were some ticky tack fouls called on Stewie early in this game. And you can definitely have a conversation of whether that should have impacted Stewie's game mentally or otherwise. You can definitely have that conversation and critique her for that. I think that's fair, And again, if someone keeps messing up your reports at work with little ticky tack typos and you are the one that has to go and clean that mess up when you trying to do all your other work, you're going to feel some kind of way too.
Yeah. And I feel like, sticking with the officiating crew, like in some of the games, they let a lot of contact go. Others, they just like, you're trying to control you're trying to sort of like put your input on the game. And it's like, why? Like if it's consistent, let it ride. Like players know how to naturally adjust. Like Leo talks about it all the time, where it's like, sometimes they'll just like call stuff out of nowhere. And it's like, you haven't been doing that all game. Why are you doing this now? Like just, you got to let it go. Also, Now that I think about this, like, and the only time Kathy decided to grace us with her presence during this season, someone asked her about the officiating, and she's like, "Oh yeah, the officiating is like, we have the best standard, we have the best officials." I'm like, "Big dog, I
We
know."
lie.
Hey, like you guys are talking about that capital 75 million investment. I'm gonna need you to put a few bucks in the officiating.
Come on. Yeah,
Put a few
right.
dollars there.
Cause yeah, it's just been wild. So I think I guess what I'm trying to say, what I want to say is that there is room for both conversations.
Mhm.
Did the New York Liberty quote unquote blow this game, lose this game? They definitely made some mistakes.
Mhm.
But Ronnie says it here, Minnesota didn't play their greatest game either. Because
Mhm.
again, when you look at the stats, second chance points dang near the same. Fast break, it was 5 for Minnesota, 4 for New York. Fast break points, 12 for New York Liberty, 11 for Minnesota. Biggest lead for New York was 6. Biggest lead for Minnesota. Rebounds, team rebounds, turnovers were even closer, more for the New York Liberty and early for the New York Liberty. Points off of turnovers, the New York Liberty had more points off of turnovers, even though they had more turnovers.
Yeah.
The one thing that stands out to me is the free throws, even bench points, which usually is the bread and butter for a New York Liberty squad, again, except for against Minnesota. Everything was balanced, and that's why we have the lead tracker that we do. This might not have been the prettiest basketball, but I forget if it might have been the Minnesota. It was either JJ or in the Minnesota press conference. I can't remember right now, but they were I think it was JJ that was basically saying, I mean, this was an elimination game, of course it was going to go back and forth. She was asked about how come we saw in every other game a big gap, and then the other team having to claw back. She's like, because this is an elimination game, like they're trying not to get eliminated and we're trying to win, like that's it. And so did it mean that players or the team was playing tight at times? Yes. Did it mean that the team was capitalizing? Either team was capitalizing on other mistakes? Yes, because that's what you do when you're trying to win the game. You're not trying to play perfect basketball. You are trying to play winning basketball. And honestly, I think we're going to see more of the same in game 5. We're going to get into that. I want to talk about JJ and Leo, though. We have to talk about them. We're going to talk about them in our second quarter. And then in halftime, we're going to take a little break so we can bring the blood pressure down, talk about some other things, which will then lead us into a conversation about Sandy Brondello in our third quarter before we open things up for your questions and comments. Once again, Brian, we get a fantastic performance, not just from Leonie Phoebish, but from Jonquel Jones that is squandered. And it hurts my heart because last year it was JJ by herself, by her lonesome. She out here balling, putting the team on her back, and can't get a dub. Now we've seen this not once but twice with Leo. Leo, second highest score or second most points for the New York Liberty with 19. She was 50% from the floor and 40% from the 3-point line, from the perimeter.
Yeah.
JJ, real quick, because I knew you spoke to Leo after the game. JJ shot 80%, 4 of 5 from the perimeter. Your center shot 4 of 5 from the perimeter, leading point scorer for New York Liberty with 21 points.
Yeah, I want to start with Leo first, and you see the work that Sandy's doing as far as like implementing various things, and Leo, like they're running stuff for her directly. Like at the beginning of the year, they'd run those Sabrina plays for her, where she's coming off elevators, coming off curls, stuff like that. This time in games 3 and 4, it's, hey Leo, you can post up, get in the block. They got their weakest defender on you. You got it, and she's getting it. And Minnesota, like she made the point after, like Minnesota sending their weakest defenders at her, and it's, I'm an MVP. How dare you? Who do you think you are? Like, what do you think this is? And like we've seen Leo get in the paint, get downhill, get in the rim, and also like she has a knack for making big shots. Like
Big
time,
shots.
every time you think that things are about to fall apart, Leo 3, Leo 2 off the wrong leg, all kind of wild stuff. And it's so
Okay,
nice.
see, I'm glad you said that off the wrong leg. I just want to. Is this a safe space, y'all? Is this a safe space?
Hit it.
Is Leo making us cheat on MJ?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Brian.
Yeah.
Brian said, "Oh yeah." He was like, not even trying to hide it.
I was talking about it with some of the guys last night. I feel like, I wonder if you feel the same way. Leo can be an all-star in this league.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, like,
come on.
I feel like a full season of Leo starting, I would start the campaign now. Like, for all you folks out there,
protect her
at
all costs.
Yeah,
at all costs.
Like, she is so great, and like even her passing last night was awesome. Like, we're up in press row, and like that possession where she sort of like, she looks one way, hits the pass that way. I'm like, oh my god, like, because like my eyes immediately went to that corner, and then it just went the other way. I'm like, oh good god, what? Like, that's nuts.
Ronnie said Leo plays defense. I mean, MJ be trying. She be trying. Jen says, no question. I love MJ, but Leo is a fuller package. I mean, oh man. And I got to see both of them in Paris. No, bro. This is so, I'm not even reading it. I'm not even reading it.
Oh, come on.
Come on. Like, it's one thing. Listen, we're making confessions here, but we ain't got to be mean. Like, dang. Listen, MJ is, listen. If we could take both, we doing it. I'll tell you that. I'll just put it that way. But if we got to make a Sophie's choice, oh, come on, JK. Come on, JK. Do the right thing.
Yeah.
Do the right thing.
Yep.
No. All right, come on. We got to wipe that. MJ is in the unquick section. Okay, see, MJ, I don't know if I would classify her as unquick, because you got to at least try to be unquick. Let me stop. Defensively, MJ is, I don't know what she is speed-wise, because you don't think she's doing much, and then before you know it, the ball is gone. She's a wizard. She's a magician. We're going down this is okay. Let's pin this, Brian, because we're gonna have to. I was almost got into it for our conversation ahead of Game 4, but we're gonna have to have. I know, folks. I certainly don't even want to say it, but we got to look toward what the protection list is gonna look like, because some hard decisions are gonna have to be made.
We're about like 2 weeks away, right?
Yeah,
We
the off season is going to be taxing for New York Liberty fans, regardless of how Game 5 goes. I'll just put it that way. Oh man, not the wannabe player in me wants to say, why can't we eat bratwurst and croissants? I mean, but really, like, who says we have to choose? Both are delicious. One is a protein and one is a carb. You need both. You need both.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, we went off. It was in my head. I had a tangential thought, and I had to put it out there. This is a safe space. We got to talk about it, because I was like, I know I can't be the only one. I can't be the only one. I'm not proud of this moment, but it's the truth. It is where I am right now. But Leo, I love that you talk about what Leo was able to do. Let me see if I can pull up this, because this is how I know, like, Leo don't play. Because there was a photo, like, Leo has made a career, right, of just being cool, calm, collected, don't really let a lot of stuff bother her. But when I saw this photo of Leo, when she was fired up, it's loading. loading. But there's a photo that we got, Brian, in our assets. Here it goes. Hold on. There's a photo that we got. Oh, I put it in background. That was my bad. Hold on. Look at that Leo photo.
Yeah,
Look at
she.
that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna keep it as the background because she was fired up, Brian. We don't always see Leo like that. Leo keeps it at one speed all the time. She don't like people getting in her head. When I saw that she was fired up like that, I was like, "Oh, come on, y'all. We can't be out here losing games where Leo is that fired up." But JJ also had a great game. She led the team. And it wasn't, I don't think it was an easy 21 for her, Brian.
It was hard work, and like, it's funny, like, sometimes like when you talk to someone and then in the game it plays out exactly how they talked about earlier in the day. So I had that experience with Sabrina in the morning because I was asking her, I'm like, hey, you guys have a lot of space because JJ, and she's like, yeah, JJ's so huge. Like, she made that wing three in game 3 that kept them alive, things like that. And then she hit like three. She went off from downtown in that third quarter, and it's like, oh my God, this is it. This is it. This is everything happening right here. And I feel like for JJ, I never worry about her making the wrong play because I know JJ always makes the right play. Like, when it's clutch time, I know JJ's gonna do something good. When she's at the free throw line, I know she got it. Like, I'm no stress about that. Like, I know she's gonna make the right pass when she's facing heavy coverage. I know these things are gonna happen because I think she's done so much great work in New York, and just like her ability to sort of like flow within the offense, even when there's always discussion about getting her the ball enough. And Leo said, hey, we got to get her more shots, which I agree with. And it's like, okay, I think for the Liberty, the balance that I'm not sure they've been able to quite 100% land during this early run is, all right, JJ's got it going. How do we get her the ball more while still keeping the flow of what we're doing? And it's such a tough balance because the player who would get the shots is arguably the best basketball player to ever grace the earth in Breanna Stewart. So how do you sort of strike that balance? And I think I think there's a balance to be had there. And I think in this matchup in particular, with Lan less than 100%, and I know Dorka, she went to UConn and she has experience in big games, but it's like, hey, can you swim to the deep end with an MVP with the title on the line? Let's find out.
Listen, yeah, and it goes to the back and forth, and the New York Liberty, I think, continue to struggle in this area, Brian, because Leo and JJ should have been the people that they were feeding, because they were not like JJ. What, she missed her first bucket in like the third quarter or something crazy like that. Like, JJ was locked and loaded, and Leo as that's literally the 1-2 punch. So I'm putting Sab on the ball. I'm putting Stewie on the block, and then just have Stewie come out, make room for JJ down low, let her cook, have Leo on that same side so she can pop that ball out when the double triple team comes. And who's stopping that?
Erica, a thought just popped in my head too. Like, just a little bit on the Minnesota side. Like, Fee pitched a complete game. Like, we talked about Fee pitching a complete game last night, and she did. She'll do it again on Sunday. And if Minnesota goes small, you can like have JJ guard Fee, and then Fee is going to have to guard JJ. So Fee is going to have to work double tough. And we saw like Fee, apparently Fee was a little bit piffed and sort of like miffed that she got that foul call when JJ bodied her in the paint to tie the game late. But it's like, Fee can't, as great as Fee is, like, JJ is strong in the paint. JJ knows how to operate in the low block, and she gonna muscle you. And you can be as great as Nafisa Collier is, but that takes a toll at a certain point. And if you're the Liberty, how do you sort of like, because I think sometimes like they do a great job of just like not spamming JJ in the low post, because sometimes it doesn't work as well as it thinks. As the game progresses, they may get a little bit stagnant. But if you're able to just deploy JJ all over the court, it's okay. She's spotting up at the wing. She can knock that down, so you have to come out. She's a great driver for a center, and she's such a great finisher. Like she can just like she has so much like wingspan and length that when she
It's
gets up there,
basically
like,
just like
yeah,
a point blank finger roll
yeah,
at that point.
you're not getting it.
Like I hear what you're saying, and I think it benefits New York to have that matchup on the offensive side. Like when they're on offense, the
Mhm.
only thing that gives me a little pause, and that means, and this is kind of what Stewie does anyway, but then you really have to have Stewie, Benijah, and even Sab make sure that they have eyes on JJ on Fee all the time. Because what is Fee gonna do? She can pull her out to the perimeter. She's got a mid range. We know that she can get to the basket. And JJ's her timing with her footwork sometimes worries me. It's not that she's unquick. They wouldn't be hashtag unquick, because that's not what it is. It would be like sometimes it looked like she run on the 1 and the 3 and not the 2 and the 4. You feel me? Like
And I think also JJ has, like we talk about it all the time, the propensity for ill-timed fouls. Like
mhm,
it hasn't amazingly, it really hasn't happened yet in this
not
series,
too bad. Yeah.
which I think for Sandy and friends is a huge blessing, because she's made it through a weird whistled series without having the foul trouble game.
And
Because
that's the maturity, I
yeah,
think.
because game 4 in Vegas, that was the foul trouble game, and it was like, oh my god, it's this thing about to go haywire, and then KB and the bench held it down, and then in the fourth, JJ was splashing threes all over the place to bring it home.
Yep.
So I
And
think
I think that, and I hear what Damien is saying. I don't completely agree. Um, because of something that you and I talked about, and you alluded to it on the podcast, but I know you and I, or in the Slack channel, you were more explicit with talking about some of the decision making from Stewie. And actually, let's go to Stewie now, because we talked about this at the top of the show, and I think it's more than just a Brondello thing, because again, we've talked about this before, but at the end of the day, Brian, she's drawing up the plays, but she's not physically passing the dang ball.
yep.
So let's hear from Stewie about what she thought she specifically didn't quite get right in game 4.
Minnesota did what they needed to.
Okay, hold on.
I mean, I think that I was going a little bit too fast. I just needed to slow down. They're sending multiple people when I'm slipping on a screen, stuff like that. Just a little bit better awareness on my part. But quick turnaround and be ready for Sunday.
I mean, I like that Stewie, to your point you made about Sandy, like Stewie can own that. And that's what you and Lucas were talking about. Like that's what Lucas's tweet was about, like making better decisions there. You have to know, as Brianna Stewart, like she said, that you're being sped up. And where is the better shot? Paint to great is what the New York Liberty say. Sandy says all the time. Stewie has to be able to, in real time, make those decisions. Sabrina has talked about that in this series. John Quell, I think her task, and we alluded to it a little bit, has been just how does she stay focused? There have been times where she's felt she should get more whistles, and we know, we see the John Quell where she's just bouncing up and down. We know that that's when she's frustrated, but she lets that go and moves on much better this season than ever in her career, in my opinion. But what also, and I don't know how much you put this on JJ, it's definitely some on Stewie. I hear what Damien is saying about it being Sandy's thing, but at some point in time, what I'd like to see is JJ, and I don't know if she does this in huddles. We're not in the huddles, but JJ also needs to be like, yo, on some Courtney Williams or, Don Williams. Oh, I'm feeling it. Like, give me the ball. Give me the ball.
Yeah.
Give me the ball. Like, somebody has to be able to do that. So, yes, I do think some of that lands on Sandy. That being said, Brian, you were in Minnesota. You've been covering all of the games. There have been also times where Sandy does draw up a play for JJ, right?
Yeah.
And in the defense shuts it down.
Yeah. And also like she'll have a design for JJ, then it's like a bad entry pass, turnover, stuff like that. Like they're throwing a bounce passes, they're like throwing it high for her to get it, kind of thing. It's like you do it. Now that we're at this point, play design really goes out the window because Cheryl knows everything Sandy's doing. Sandy knows everything Cheryl's doing. So it's just, okay, my 5, your 5, who executes better? Who can sort of stick to what their plan is best, adjust to the counters that are happening, and then go from there. Because you can dial up the most beautiful plays on planet Earth, but if the players don't execute, it don't matter. It's just, that's pretty, but it didn't lead to nothing.
It didn't lead to anything. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that flexibility has to come too from the players on the court.
Yeah.
On the court. Damien saying, so you're saying that JJ should go off for at least 30 points? I mean, I would love it if she's in a position to go off for 30. She has had to earn her double doubles. Yeah. She has had to claw and fight. So to Brian's point just now, and the entry passes were trash, basura early in the game. A lot of those turnovers were on entry passes, bad passes. Even that play that you and Lucas were talking about, where did Stewie catch the ball? She caught it behind her. Now, it's on her to know how much time is on the clock, where she is, where her teammates are, because she didn't have to shoot that. We weren't tight in and low in the shot clock, but also that pass, she had to use all of her wingspan to go grab it, so that's an issue. So it's not just Stewie being sped up. And I mean, I'm going to go to you and then I want us to go to our halftime so we can pivot a little bit. But, what was Sab saying after the game, and what was kind of her demeanor after game 4?
Yes, Sab was, I think frustrated that because I think she said that she didn't think she fouled Bridget on that play, but she's like, it didn't cost them the game, which I think is true. Like they even with that call, which I thought wasn't a foul at the time, I'm kind of like ambivalent on it now after a day, but they still had opportunities, they still had things to sort of like do to sort of get to the finish line without that, and I think for also just talking about just like adjusting to the switches she mentioned as well. So I think for her it's a quick turnaround, rest up Saturday, study, rewatch, see what we didn't do right, and then how to go from there. And I think for the Liberty, they as a collective, starting from Stewie on down, they've done a great job of just bouncing back after losses.
Yep.
A lesser team folds after game 1. Like you blow it, that setting, record crowd in your house, and then you lose that. Like it's easy to crumble. And then with the 2 days in between, it's like you're stewing in it for a lot longer. But they came back. They held strong down the stretch. They made big plays. And then game 3, Stewie had one of the all-time great finals performances you'll ever see on both sides of the ball. And then last night, it was a step down for her, which if she's an all-timer, so she's held to the top standard and she's earned that.
Yeah. She is the standard. Like her and Asia Wilson continue to set the pace for what is an all-time great performance in the WNBA. Like you can argue between those two, but you could argue with your mama about that. It's them two at the top.
Yeah.
He's making a strong case, and her legacy, regardless of how this goes, is cemented as far as Fee is making her way to the top as well. You know what I'm saying? Like absolutely. But that goes back to it's a hard point to make in a finals because this is when people like a Stewie, like a Fee, DT, Waylon, Maya Moore, Sylvia Fowles, NECA, like we could go down the list. Tamika Catchings, Cheryl Swoops, got my Swoops shirt on today. Like this is when their legacies are made. For sure. But you know what's also true is that there are role players whose legacies are made in these times right now. What's brother man's name who's the manager of the Dodgers right now? Exactly. What do we know him for? Like, listen, I listen. I ain't no Boston fan. We Mets fans, so we're neutral. But I'm just letting you know. In that series where they were down 3, brother was stealing every base.
Yep.
No base was safe. No base was safe. Did he have to hit 5 home runs? Did he need to go perfect from the mound? He ain't even a pitcher. He played his role. He played his role. Leo's playing her role right now. JJ is playing her role right now. JJ is playing her role. Solid. Ain't no days off for JJ. Where? When? How? No. They're playing their role. And the next evolution for this New York Liberty squad, which we don't know what the roster is going to be, but they need to inject a little bit of that JJ and Leo into more of their bench players. And you know who I'm going to call up? Niara Sabali, given good minutes. KT, her energy, even the fact that if it was a turnover on Minnesota, she started sprinting the other way right away. Before the whistle even stopped blowing, she was sprinting the other way. I'm watching this game and I'm like, yo, I don't think people realize how important that is. KT's like, I'm not waiting. I know this is our ball. Like, let's go. Let's go. She made some big shots. We need to see more of that. And some of that I will put on Sandy. We've talked about this before. Some of that is Sandy and the coaching staff giving that runway, just like Cheryl Reeve did. Do you think Cheryl wanted to experiment in game 4, an elimination game? There's a part of her that's like, hell, the mother. No, absolutely not. But there's another part of her that you have to believe that knew what her player could do. And Sandy's balance makes me uncomfortable. I say this all the time. I'm not saying I don't ride with Sandy, and we're going to talk about that later on the show. I'm just saying it makes me a little uncomfortable. Cheryl Reeve holds that. She holds things tight until it's time to let it go. We saw her do it in the Olympics with Sab. She did it with Sab in the Olympics. She did it with Jackie in the Olympics. She did it with Ka in the Olympics. What kind of work do you have to put in? What kind of conversations are you having so that in the Olympics, Julie the Cat Gaffney style, all you need to do is flick the wrist to get the save and win the game? Like, you know how tough that is? And the only way psychologically that a player can be ready to do that is if their teammates and their coaching staff, and definitely them, are putting in the work. I want to see New York trust the process. Game 5, put it all out there. People talking Niara needs more minutes. I'm not going to necessarily argue that. KT's minutes have changed a little bit in an unexpected way for me this season, but KT has been ready. Okay? KT has been ready. Maybe we need to see a little bit more of that. And I'm good with that. But we're going to switch it up because I, again, went on a tangent. I wasn't trying to do all that, but it just came out of me. It came out of me, folks. And I see we got some comments that I haven't even looked at yet. But we're going to go to halftime. And the halftime is a little weird because it's going to lead into our third quarter. But first, literally talking about halftime. Fat Joe in the house, lean back. We're going to be leaning back. I hope they don't play him. Who was it? Who was the last halftime performer? In
Jadakiss.
I feel like they messed up the audio because Brother Man sang like 2 abbreviated songs and then it was over. I was like, something wrong here. So hopefully they're gonna get that worked out for Fat Joe, who we've seen on the sidelines. So I'm excited for that. That should be dope. Halftime performance. Brian, what unis are the Liberty wearing tomorrow? I don't know if they've said it officially, but what we thinking? I mean, I think we know what it's not gonna be.
No one likes the white jerseys, man. And it
Apparently
makes me
not.
so sad. Like, them jerseys are cool, but no, every time they wear them, they lose. People are like, oh man, this is the white jerseys' fault. Those white jerseys are nice. I like them.
They're nice. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know. Somebody somewhere is superstitious about them things, and they ain't been wrong for the most part.
So I'm betting tomorrow is going to be the classic black unis.
I think so.
Yeah, so we'll have those to work with tomorrow night.
Liberty need to go all out early because links are clutch and Reeve is better than Brondello. Simple. I do think Reeve is probably the better overall coach. She certainly has more titles. That
Yeah.
I mean, there's that. So there's that. They went head to head in the Olympics, you know, and there's that. I don't think that it is like, it's not insignificant, but it's not a blowout either, in my opinion. Sandy's approach is very different than a lot of coaches, but it's also effective. And I ride with Sandy Brondello. We're gonna get to that a little bit later, but I ride. So Aloysia says black jerseys all day. I really do think they're wearing them blacks. Those are tough.
Mm-hmm.
Those are tough. I think they're wearing them. The other thing we wanted to talk about in our halftime before we go into our third quarter is LT. Another coach bites the dust. Trisha Trammell in Dallas is gone. Now, the first thing we said in the Slack was, okay, Satu to New York Liberty when? Because she is the biggest New York Liberty super fan that they have not shown on the Jumbotron. And I understand why they might not do it, but also, like, give her some shine. Like, come on, she out here supporting her sister. Who's going to ride harder? You know what I'm saying?
Would that be tampering if they put Satu on the big board in the Yara jersey?
I mean, if she's wearing it, and like, that's her sister. That is her sister. They are blood, you know, grew up together, played in the Olympics together. Come on. What's she gonna do? Sit there neutral? Hell no, that's my dang sister. I'm going all the way up.
She's gonna be like Rob. She's gonna be like Rob Lowe in the stands wearing an NFL hat.
Yeah.
I love all teams equally.
WNBA. She's just in all her WNBA, her WNBPA gear, you know? That's hilarious. Oh man!
But
okay, let me find out. Jen got the juice. Oh, okay.
Jen with the breaking news and analysis. I love it.
Oh man! She said I messaged LT on IG and she actually replied. Oh man, LT seems like a real one.
Also, Jen, bring that to the Black Rosie Media Slack channel.
Hey, come on, come through on Slack because we in there.
On the LT tip, it's. She lost her job, and it sucks because that roster is not good. Like that roster, like Satu being out threw everything off kilter. But even so, that roster is not good. Like their jumbo size, like Satu's bet. Like Satu's a great 3, but she's an even better 4, and she's playing the 3 because I've got Big T and Natasha Howard in my starting lineup. I have to play both. Like there's that. Like they haven't done well in the drafts. Like they haven't done well. Like Enrique is the lead option on offense, and it's like sometimes you get the great Enrique who heats up for like 30 points out of nowhere, and then other times you get 4 for 17 Enrique, and then it's like it's 2 wolves with Enrique. One wolf is I'm an MVP. I can be an Olympian kind of thing.
Yeah.
There is the hey man, why don't you just pass the basketball a little bit more, please? Like,
man, listen, I need whoever is the next coach for Enrique Agumbawale just to get Cheryl Miller on FaceTime before every game and be like, go win me this MVP like you play in Team USA.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, I feel like maybe they just get Cheryl Miller. Let's get Cheryl Miller back. I don't know if she's trying to come back to the W as a coach, but I mean, I'd be here for it.
I have an idea. Do you think that the Wings should just have like a Cheryl Reeve cutout cardboard on the sideline every game? So just Enrique, look at that. And
look at that. She's gonna kick the basketball straight into it.
She activates like the Winter Soldier and then plays like the MVP when she sees the Cheryl cardboard cutout on the bench, just like, and then 35 on 13 for 17 shooting.
Oh my gosh. Hilarious. Yeah. I don't know what's happening. So we have vacancies in LA, Atlanta, Dallas, and who am I? No, I said everybody. LA, Atlanta, and Dallas.
One more.
Am I forgetting?
One more.
Who am I forgetting? Tell me.
Chicago.
Oh, dang. Yeah. I like subconsciously forgot that, but also but also okay. And I'm gonna say this. Thank you, Yeah, I was like, and I even wrote it in the notes. Clearly, I'm not even looking at my own notes. But yeah, teaspoon. Thank you. Not Ronnie saying. So in other words, Dallas is a dumpster fire. Have been what? Anyway, um, so all of this, and somehow Eric Tebow still has a job. Listen.
Let's make
I don't-
it about the Mystics this time.
That's it. I was like, Misha's not here, and I'm gonna take my chance. Listen, I don't know Eric Tebow. I don't know him personally. I just know that if people are making a case, listen, Linda, listen. If you can fire Kurt Miller after a losing season, after, well, technically 2, I guess. Teaspoon only gives 1 crack at the apple. Then I'm just trying to understand. What's going on in Washington. I mean, I think I know. I think we all know. We ain't got to say it. There's a podcast for New York Liberty fans. I'm just trying to understand, like, what is the actual standard? Because it seems like the league is trending to, what have you done for me lately? Which I respect. I can understand. I mean, let me say, I understand it. I'm not sure I completely respect it, but I understand it. But I mean, Washington is right there, homie. Washington is right there.
So, Erica, I have a question for you.
Mm.
If you are a prospective assistant coach who is climbing the ranks and is a hot candidate for jobs in the
Ooh.
college, wherever you want to go, would any of these would you take a job as your first job in the big chair in one of those 4 organizations?
No. I'll tell you, no. Maybe Atlanta. Maybe.
You think?
Maybe. I'll tell you what. I loved to see Teaspoon get a head coaching role. I hated that she went to Chicago. Hated it.
Like, for I guess for folks who are wondering why we go so hard on the Sky, like, I think I might have mentioned it earlier. I think I might have mentioned it a few months back, right when Candace retired. Like, when Kalia Copper said, "This is the first time I haven't had to worry about food when I come to work at an organization," I'm like, hey, where she was beforehand, you need to have a hard look in the mirror about what you're doing. And the fact that you don't have even a bare minimum like that is really bananas to me and just unacceptable. And the fact that you do that, you go all in for, it's James Wade's fault, but you go all in one direction. He done disappears to go to Toronto
as an assistant.
Okay, all right. I just had a thought. How hilarious would it be if the first coach of the Toronto franchise is James Wade? I need it to happen now. I need it.
Oh my gosh.
I need it.
No. I think we're okay. Okay.
James playing the long game. Let me
Not the long game.
get an opponent, so when I make my grand return, I can assure myself a spot in the Eastern Conference playoffs.
Oh man. No, I don't know.
Oh.
But I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. To see if we see any overlap in these coaches, or I should say recycling of coaches, a la the NHL. We don't really get that a lot in the WNBA. Not once you get let go as a head coach, it's like you are banished. Like, you never come back unless you are a white man. So we'll probably see Kurt Miller. He's fine. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. You know, everybody else is going to have to hope to find a second assistant role somewhere where they'll be there for a decade and then maybe hopefully get a chance a la Katie Smith. Yep. You knew where I was going with that. You know, like, I don't know. But the reason I wanted to bring this up as the last halftime, aka we kind of remix things. Usually we do non-Liberty topics in the shoot around, but I've been doing it in halftime. so we can get to the game action in the finals earlier. But the reason I wanted to have this as halftime is because we come into this third quarter and we're going to have to talk about Sandy.
Mm.
We're going to have to talk about Sandy. I played the clip earlier. In the first part of the clip, she mentioned that she did try to call that timeout. I know a lot of people get on her, including her own teammates. Sabrina about to quit if she don't call a damn challenge. Like Sabrina, like, I'm out. I'm going to Golden State. Me and my purple shoes are out.
You know what's funny? Like, she did it when they called for it, and I thought that they were gonna get it. Like on the play when it looked like Fee hit it out of bounds, and the refs are like, "No." I'm like, "What do you mean no? It looks like it's clearly off of her. What is that?" Like,
yeah.
yes. The beauty and joy of WNBA officiating, all for a peak of 2 million viewers. Welcome to our lives.
I'm telling you, like, I don't know. It's been kind of wild. Yeah, it's kind of wild. Oh, I'm just taking a look at some of the IG comments. We came out the Olympics together, played college ball together. This is blow for blow. That's what Danny was saying. Like, I mean, game 5 is gonna be wild, but I want to talk about Sandy. I feel like I'm not gonna bury the lead here. I've been holding it down for Sandy. Does she make me uncomfortable in certain situations? Absolutely. Has since she was with Phoenix. Does she make mistakes? Brian, you mentioned it. She'll be the first person to own up to when she feels that she needs to be better, and that is something that, as you said, the players talked about after the game, and they respect that. All of that to me makes Sandy a coach that really asks her team, her coaching staff, and obviously herself to trust in the process.
Mhm.
You don't win. It's very rare. It has happened in sports, but it's rare to put a team together and just go out and win a championship. You know, like Elwood's what? Like, it's hard? Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. Only people who can be on their what? Like, it's hard tip is the Houston Comets, because they did that thing not just in the first season ever of the league, but then did it 3 consecutive seasons after that. But this thing is hard. It's hard. We're seeing that it's hard right now in this series. That being said, whether it's the timeout and she's like, I guess I'm just going to have to run on the court. I do think Sandy overall, she picks and chooses when she's going to be very assertive and aggressive. And that is not an issue like in the grand scheme of life and sport, but comparative to other coaches, it's noticeable.
Mhm.
So does that mean she's wrong? I don't think so, not always, but I think she kind of got there last night, Brian, and saying whether it was the timeout or whether it was her saying, do I have to talk about the officiating? She's like, listen, just call it fair. If everybody's going to get a call it both ways. If nobody's getting a call it both ways, but be fair. And I think she's absolutely right, because whether you think officiating impacted that game or not, it wasn't balanced. And one thing that we do know is that Cheryl Reeve called out officiating the game before, which again is a part of what we see in professional sports. I'm not knocking Cheryl. It's very strategic of Cheryl. It's also another way to stand up for your players.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. I think Sandy, it feels now. This is my take on it, Brian, and I want to hear what you think. I think Sandy said that, one, because she does feel it. I don't think that she just realized that she felt that way. I think that she's felt that way for a while. I think what she realized is, am I hurting my team by not saying this when other coaches say it consistently?
Yeah, I think that there's we talk about it a lot of knowing when to press a particular button, because you can only do it once before it becomes sort of like background noise in a sense.
James Wade, what?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Clearing the throat again.
Yeah, so if you're always out there doing a
Wait, I'm sorry. How many clips did that brother send? What was it, like 20 clips? He was like, I sent 20 clips.
Yes, a lot of them.
He was like, from the one game, he's like, from last night's game. Bro was pressed. Anyway, I'm sorry. I digress. WNBA folklore, that has to go down. Like, that brother sent 20 some odd clips.
Look, and then with emails, like there's only a certain size you could send, so it's like you're getting repeated emails, and this RE, then RE, then RE, and it's like, God, this dude's Wi-Fi won't cut off. Jeez. But then he has the 5G data plan, so his connection's super fast, so it's just gonna keep coming and coming and coming. And it's like, oh, just wanted to follow up on this thing I sent you. Did you receive it? And then it's like, yes. Yes.
All 50 of them.
Yep.
All 20, James. Thank you.
Yep. We got it. Thank you. We will follow up. I will follow up with you within 24 to 48 business hours.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like I think it's kind of wild. I think it's kind of wild. And I think that's where Sandy is trying to figure out, what she needs to do, because I think we can say that it's not how she approaches basketball.
Yeah.
It never has been. Now it's things that she'll talk about, but is she going to harp on it? Is she going to get mad about it? Is she going to get a technical? No, overwhelmingly no, she's not going to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I found her comments so intriguing, because I think what I saw is someone saying, am I effing this up by not talking about it? Because everybody else is talking about it. So if this is the thing that's going to potentially put our goal at risk, I'm not risking it. I'm not risking the biscuit.
Yeah. And I think that, I feel like, officiating, it's because refs are human too.
I peeped that too.
Yep. Like, don't email me after 5 o'clock, because dude, I will not answer you.
Business hours.
Look, hey man, my office hours are 9 to 5. You do not email me after. If I'm not friends with you or
I know that's right.
not at the same spot, don't call me. I'm not going to answer. No,
I know that's right.
Look,
I know that's right. I'm glad JC picked up on that. I was like, business hours, Brian, you tripping.
When that clock hits on Friday, I see a call coming on my line.
Skirt. That's very French of you.
Look, boy, I got too many things moving. I don't need you right now, big homie. Come back another day.
Right. I know that's right. But the reason I wanted to get into this with Sandy is because I saw a tweet from Liberty Lead on social media, and this apparently came from one of their followers. So I'm going to read the tweet and I'll put it in the chat as well. But per one of their followers, quote, win or lose, Sandy has to go.
Okay. So
Oops, wrong link. Hold on.
Yeah. Oh.
No, you go ahead. I made a mistake. Go ahead.
No. Yeah, I want to say, like, no, for starters, no, because you're going to blow up a championship caliber team, a team that might even win the championship, best record in the league this year, one of the all-time best regular seasons. Like, you're going to do that. And I think just in sports a lot, whenever a team doesn't hit a particular marker, it's, oh, we just need to blow this up and start over. You're starting over with what? What are you gonna do? Oh,
Vanessa Nygaard. Oh, I'm sorry. Woo!
Yeah.
Do not give us Vanessa Nygaard after Sandy Brondello. I can't. Yeah. I cannot.
Like your thing is, oh, I'm gonna just put this one person. I'm gonna put this new person in here, and then I'm gonna get the result I want, while forgetting that relationships have to start over. Roles have to be redefined all over again. Roster has to be set. All these things, and then everything happening all at once. And then if you run into the same problem again, it's, oh, wait, look, now we got to trade everybody. And then you trade everybody, and then your team sucks again. And it's, oh, I wish I didn't do that. Oh, I fired this coach that got me far every year, that had me competing, had me win a championship, had me do these things. And it's like, oh, nah, like, why are you doing that? Like, what's the point? And even to the halftime point, who's out there that would come on in and take this and keep this team where Sandy has them? Oh, hey, I love me some Kurt Miller. Do you think that the players want to deal with Kurt Miller? I wouldn't. Like he loves vets and hates rookies, and it's like the Gloves don't have many rookies in the team, but it's like, hey, why would I want that? And then you have the situation where Kurt is hot mic saying, I'm gonna get fired because y'all can't make no layups. What's happening here? Like, I don't need that. Like, why? What's the point? Like, I don't need that. Like,
right. Not Aloysius saying Carolyn Peck. I mean, outside of the fact that she gave a Vegas pep talk on a Vegas New York game while she's actively a Vegas broadcaster. Other than that, I'm fine with Carolyn Peck. I didn't appreciate that. I definitely didn't appreciate that as someone who hosts Gotta Get Up, a podcast for New York Liberty fans. And I understood my bias. But her pep talks do be fire, though. Look, I'll give it to her.
I have so much commentary about that I'm just going to save for our Slack channel, because I feel like if I get cooking on that, I'm going to get yelled at by somebody. And
You were like, do not clip this. I will not go on the record.
Yeah, the space ain't like the space ain't that safe, and the block is gonna get extra hot. So I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't need it.
He said next. But to your point, I mean, Kurt Miller, I do think he's a great coach. He can be a great coach, and he hasn't gotten over the hump.
Mm-hmm.
Cindy's gotten over the hump. Cheryl's gotten over the hump. And you know what is hilarious to me? Because like this is a tangent or an aside. What I love about this series, Brian, is for the most part, even the most intense W fans on WNBA Twitter, they cannot just fabricate beef between these two teams to the point where Sabrina was just hanging out with Fee's husband and daughter.
Baby Fee, yeah. That was so cute.
It was adorable. You know how many times I watched that dang video? That thing was adorable. Adorable. And then I think Alex Fee's husband posted today that Mila, right, is their daughter's name?
So, yeah.
They were like, yeah, Mila's been asking for Sabrina since the Olympics.
Aww.
That is so cute.
You know, speaking of the family Fee, I saw a clip of Fee on a talk show a few days ago, and then they played her the clip when.
You're right, though. I peeped that too. I'm just saying.
Look, hey,
because they were trying. Oh well, you know, the producers wanted her to do that. I believe that, and the Liberty been playing for a minute since Vegas been gone, baby. I'm just saying.
In spring of 2025,
Brian's like, please move on so I don't get caught up. Please move on so I don't get caught up.
I got one before I started. I got like, so in the spring of 2025, walking down the runway of New York Fashion Week in her fresh pair of A1s, Carolyn Peck.
Look at that throwback. Look at that throwback. I mean, I really don't have no beef with Carolyn Peck. As a Liberty fan and as, again, someone who hosts this podcast, I peeped it. I clocked it. I was like, oops. I was like, I'm going to write that down. I felt some kind of way. I sure did.
I see you.
Right?
I see. My third eye is completely open.
Completely open. All right. Let's get to this. We're basically in the fourth quarter now because we're about to talk about what we think is going to happen in Game 5. Damian, am I nervous? I'm going to answer it the same way I answered it the last time, which maybe was Game 3 that you asked. Heck yeah, I'm nervous. Absolutely. We talked about it. Anything could happen. All bets are off. I'm going to keep doing my scream quote. All bets are off. All bets are off. All bets are off. This is going to be a knock it down, drag it out. Who wants it the most? The Liberty crowd is going to do their darndest to will this team to a first title on home court. I mean, the narratives are like pretty extensive either way this game goes. I am absolutely nervous. And again, I did not wish, I want to make that clear. I did not wish, I was not praying for a Game 5. I made a business call based on the information that we had. That's how good these two teams are. Again, there's no beef. They're babysitting each other's kids at the end of the game. Even Fee was like, "Yeah, I ain't talked to them about that," but she's like, "I see them snitching." That was hilarious.
And then
That was hilarious. That
Yes,
was so
she
funny.
did it. Madam Collier throwing the ball all over the place. Tech her up.
Tech her up. Meanwhile, like Brianna Stewart and Nafisa Collier literally tripping all over each other. I do appreciate that Stewie, at least, like when she sees she's about to fall, she doesn't keep her legs so that they fall on the person. She always tries to make space so that she doesn't clobber them. I'm like,
Just like a quick detour on the falling. Like, you know who's a hilarious faller?
who?
Like Leo. Like
Leo is funny. Oh my gosh.
I was sitting down like taking notes during the game last night, and then I look up and like Leo is just like it's just like the dramatic fall where it's like you fall and it's like, oh, everything is just like flying up top. I'm like, wait a minute, what just happened here? Like, what?
Oh my gosh. When Leo hit BC with the roundhouse, oh my gosh. That was wild. I know. That was early in game 4. I was like, did nobody else see that? Because at first I saw Leo and she kind of like jumped and then like jumped again. And I was like, whoa, is she okay? And then I was like, yo, did she just hit her in the throat? Like, oh my gosh.
Poor
Oh my gosh. Poor Bridget. Bridget don't get no calls. You want to talk about somebody who don't get no calls, Cheryl? Bridget Carlton ain't getting nothing. Nobody cares about BC.
These referees do not respect Canada. It's very unfortunate.
Clearly, Toronto gonna have a tough time. Welcome to the W. they gonna get fewer calls than Caitlin Clark. The street said Caitlin gonna be like, thank goodness they can hate on somebody else. These are jokes, people. I don't really believe this. Don't come in my comments. I'm not trying to go there.
If you come, I'm gonna talk about you. Talk about you in a bad way. Don't think about it.
It might be a UConn inside joke, but Fee was a little salty about Gino saying he hopes to go for 50 and not sending her a text. Yo, Gino be putting out psychological warfare on these. Even after they're graduated, yo, he is still out here in their heads because Stewie was hella tight. She was like, wait a minute, you ain't never come to one of my games.
Never come here. And I feel like Stores is a nice, like Stores is a good drive away, but I feel like Gino can probably take like a
come on, exactly. He gonna land in the Hudson right there on the helipad and make his way straight over. He don't even have to hop on the Q train with all the rest of us. He gonna get a driver. What's that? Exactly. Man, that man probably got a submarine. He probably got a submarine right down the Hudson, straight down the Hudson. That's what he doing. Mess around. Come on. He coming down the East River. Let's go. Like, he ain't even getting in. He's like, I'm not, you can't crash if you in a submarine. Like, you know, come on. We keeping it. But anyway. All right. Brian. Yo, this would be hilarious. Oh, so we're nervous. We know somebody's winning tomorrow. We're both gonna be there. Oh man, I don't even know what else there is to say, even with our remix predictions. Like you talked about turnovers last episode. Mm-hmm. They didn't keep it under 12. They did not keep it under 12. We've talked about offensive rebounds. We've talked about bench players. We've talked about, there's so much that we've talked about. I really don't know what it's going to take because this has been wild. I think it's going to be the New York Liberty win this if they have at least 3 players in with 20 plus points at least. And I don't even know if it has to be the quote unquote big 3, but it's got to be at least 3. You can't just have Leo and JJ. You got to have somebody else. If that's KT, if it's Niara, if it's Benijah, obviously you want it to be either Stewie and or Sab. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we're going to get those performances from Stewie or Sab, but you know what they have to be. If they're not lights out, they have to be clutch. They have to be clutch. And honestly, maybe that's what I think is going to happen. If the New York Liberty win, I think you have let JJ go all the way off. Let Leo go all the way off and have Stewie and Sab anchor things by just being absolutely clinically clutch.
I think I'm wondering, as you were saying that, like Sandy has
Damien. I'm about to see you got me going auntie in here. Damien, bro. I'm not even putting that comment up. I'm not putting it up. I'm not putting it up. I'm gonna talk to you though, Damien. I'm gonna need you to relax. Come on now.
A special Gotta Get Up episode where we put fans on the couch and tell them, let's talk through everything.
I feel like I'm in the Minnesota Lynx. I thought this was hilarious, by the way. When they were shaming people, they were like, "You are not wearing the game issued attire." They was trying to find people just like the WNBA. Like, excuse me, we did not issue that shirt. I don't care if it's Minnesota. It is not the game issued shirt. I'm gonna need you to correct it.
Somebody had a Volt shirt on. It was like, hey, get that shirt out of here. Put this Lynx one on, which I fully respect.
That's hilarious.
Look here.
That's hilarious.
You vote another day, but tonight it is hashtag Lynx recognized.
Why you vote another day? It is not November 5th. It is not November 5th. Oh my gosh. Damien, come on, man. See, come on, man. Is that what you wish for? I'm gonna turn the tides. Yes, I'm petty. I'm a petty auntie. Is that what you are wishing for, Damien? Is that what you are wishing for? Come on. Don't do that to us. It's game 5. Anything can happen. They might lose, Damien. I'm gonna keep it a buck. They absolutely might lose tomorrow. It could happen. But you know what also could happen? They could win. They could win the damn game. That means they win the championship. That means New York has a title in their second run under Sandy Brondello. Then what you gonna say about her then? She did what no other New York Liberty coach could do. We're up from under James Dolan and his foolishness in Madison Square Garden. All of that stuff that you're holding on to, that has nothing to do with this team. It has nothing to do with these players. Let them do what they have to do. And they might lose. That's a very real possibility. Very real. This Minnesota team, they could play. But come on, you're going to wave the white flag? You were ready to do that after game 1, bro. Come on. You lose one game in a 5-game series and you want to wave the white flag? What are we talking about? Come on. Is it going to suck if they lose for all of us who want them to win? Absolutely. But what kind of fun is it if you doubt them every turn? Their own fans doubting them? That's not, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that, man. Come on. They might lose. It happens. They might do it. But what if they win? What if they win? That's why I'm not putting your comment up. I'm not holding on to that energy. I'm not holding on to it, but I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna talk because I see it. I'm gonna talk about it. But I'm not holding on to it. Come on. Like I said this before. I'm pretty sure I said this before we got to the semifinals, right before the Aces series. There is nothing, and I mean this, there is nothing that makes this season a failure for me. For me. Everyone can feel the way they want to feel. I understand there's urgency because we have expansion drafts, because we're going to lose players, period. Some of y'all ready to get rid of Sandy. Things are going to change. But come on. This team got the number 1 seed, best record, took down Vegas, and is going toe-to-toe with Minnesota. I mean, maybe if they, I'm not even putting that out there. Stuff happens. There's no guarantee. They're not promised a championship just because they haven't won one before. Where they do that at? We're not talking participation trophies. You got to earn it. You have to earn it. And in my estimation, Sandy Brondello is the best coach we've ever had in a WNBA finals. Put it in ink. The best one we've ever had. So I'm not putting this on Sandy. And if the team loses, well, they lose. Congratulations, Minnesota. Whatever. But come on, wave in the towel? That's the only thing that can make me consider this team a failure because you know what? They gave up. They gave up on themselves, on their teammates, and on New York. You don't deserve to wear the jersey. Goodbye. See ya. See ya. That's the only thing. And they're not fitting to do that. So don't you do it. Don't do it for them. Don't do it on their behalf. Because they're not quitting. And I'm not going to quit neither. I'm going to show up. And whatever happens, I'm going to rock with it. Because that's what it is. That's what it is to be a fan from my estimation. I don't know. I'm going to put my mic down. I don't know what else we got to... Well, let me get to some of these comments. Because now I don't know. I just went off on a million different things.
I see Jen. They win if they fight and dig hard the whole game. I feel like it's gonna be a lot of like it happens in every game. You're gonna see at least like 5 instances of people diving all over the court. Like there's one photo of like Stewie just like dialed up like this, like on the ground, which I'm like, yes, if the MVP is doing it, everyone who's in the building is gonna dive for the ball. Even I bet the fans are gonna dive for like the t-shirts in the crowd too, just to keep that energy up. Everybody diving everywhere.
Yeah, I see it. Washi saying, when the comments broke our hearts, I accepted it. Every Liberty fan, our souls, with that possibility this last year as a super team and with a Game 7 series coming, this is our last shot, and I hope Sabrina makes it. I like that. I see what you did there. Listen, things are going to change. That's right. It's a 7-game series next year. You're not promised, though. You can't even talk about tomorrow. The season literally isn't over. There's one more game left, and there's no promise that you're going to get back. I said this last year. No promise. No promise that they're going to get back.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all keep saying the Buffalo Bills of the W. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn about the Buffalo Bills. Not a hoot hoot holler. No. I don't know nothing about them. All I know is it's a Game 5, New York Liberty, home court, and they're not trying to get punked again. I believe that. Now, they might lose, but they're not going to get punked. So I'm not waving no white flag. I'm not doing that. Ronnie saying, I'm so happy that you were speaking up, Erica. Flush this James Dolan crap. This is a new era, and I'm loving it. Exactly. James Dolan wasn't trying to do nothing for this team, and despite that, they still were making finals runs. Now we have an ownership group that's putting money in, time in. Let's see what happens. And even that is not a guarantee. As much as the former president who's trying to run again likes to believe that money buys everything, that's not how life works all the time. Period, point blank. You got to earn it. And that's what I want to see the New York Liberty do. So if you want to see them wave the white flag, you could do that. I'm not trying to see that. Ain't nobody paying money to see them wave the white flag in Game 5.
A lot of money at that. A lot of money.
Game 5?
A lot of yeah.
Where they do that at? This is real. I was never worried about the Aces. Not this year. We had the Aces number. The Lynx came out of nowhere and shook my confidence post-Olympics. I'm telling you, I don't know why you waited for the Olympics. The Lynx put the Liberty on notice in the Commissioner's Cup. And then we had another chance, and we didn't beat them then either. It took a while for the Liberty to unlock the Lynx. So the Liberty, or excuse me, the Minnesota Lynx have earned everything to this point. The Liberty have earned everything to this point. And that's what makes this series great. There's no guarantees between these two teams. Yeah, the New York Liberty were in the series last year, and they got whomped in every game except Game 3. Come on. It's not a guarantee. It's not a guarantee. You know, I hear what you're saying. Next year is not promised. Yep, that's exactly what I keep saying. Maybe the best coach who continues to make the same mistakes. I don't agree with that. I don't agree. Nobody has been able to win 2 in a row yet. Don't let Minnie change that. That's real.
Actually, hold on. One soda, 2, 3. My brain is melting everything together, so I feel like everything has been a 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. But
yeah, but New York 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, and then Yeah, 1-4, and then 2-3 in the middle. Yeah.
Not Reeve overplayed the Aces and Liberty players in the Olympics. Master plan. Oh man, listen. I mean, some people have been talking about how she deployed Fee. Who are the best players on that Olympic squad? Asia Wilson and Brianna Stewart. Period. Who was a player that could not be denied on that squad? First it was Jackie, then it was Sab, then it was Ka. I mean, I don't know.
I will say this is not for Kalia, but in the case of Kalia, do we really think the Phoenix Mercury gonna make things shake like that? Boy, y'all some paper tigers over there. Sorry.
Nah. Fee did play a lot. I didn't think she should have been a starter though. I wasn't sold on Fee as a starter for the Olympic team, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, because it was around the time that she had the plantar fascia on her.
Yeah, she was coming back. Coming back.
Because she missed like the leading up into the break. She was out for a couple games, and then she got a little bit of run during the All-Star game, and then it's like, okay, you're starting on the best team in that the Americans send abroad.
Yeah,
make it work.
Yeah, this right here. I rewatched the whole game earlier today, and this is really what I hope, especially the New York Liberty, are doing. But I need to see it all out there. Like it's gotta be all out there. You know, don't worry about unrivaled. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Let's get this win.
Erica, can I keep on this for a quick second?
Yeah.
Would you have Stewie pitch a complete game tomorrow?
If she can go, I don't see why not.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know that we have any indication that she's not healthy for any reason, like physically.
Yeah, she's fine.
So, I think the only way you don't is if, like in game 4, she gets into foul trouble.
Yeah.
And that was once. And I'd have to watch the game back again. I don't know how much I think Minnesota was quote unquote targeting Stewie. I really don't think they were. I think Sandy said it. Some of those fouls were sus. Yeah.
It's like, I always wonder, like when you're like an MVP player, I feel like once you get a first call, it's like you look at the referee and be like, hey, do you know who I am bit, but hey, do you know who I am around these parts? I'm kind of a big deal.
People know me.
Yeah.
People know me. There is some ticky-tack fouls. Not all of them, but
some,
yeah, at least 2 where I was like, bruh, where you call that at? You haven't called that all series. Like, that's how it's like in the Matrix when she's like, not like this. Not like this. That's what it felt like. I was like, come on, now we're not doing that. Like, let them play. And again, these teams have respect. Minnesota got aggressive. They were definitely a little more aggressive, I think, in very specific ways in game 4, but they weren't playing bully ball either. Like, neither one of these teams has done that. I do think Stewie might take some early fouls a la DT. She's like, I'm gonna jam this down somebody's throat and I'm gonna dare them to blow the whistle just so we know early on. Like, that's something I would do. I'd be like, you know what? I don't know where we at today, so I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find out early. I'm gonna waste a foul just to see where we at, and it better be the same all the way through. If I get through, okay, then I know I got to take this charge on the other side. Yeah. If I get a foul call, you best believe I'm jumping in front of every mofo coming down the lane.
It's very much like the moment where like a player just runs onto the field, just like plants their flag at like right at the 50-yard line, being like, how about you come take this flag and do something about it? If you do, it's game time. If you don't, you know whose house it is.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. That's basically what I'm saying. That's what I want to see from the New York Liberty, but specifically from Stewie. Yeah, if we're talking about Sab, if Sab hits a deep 3 early, we know. We know she's locked. She's locked in. She's locked in. Because did she do that in game 4? No.
Nope.
Sure didn't. That's how you know. It's you know who does the same thing, not to make it all about the Indiana Fever, but Caitlin Clark does the same thing. If CC hits a shot early from deep just because, then you know where the game is going. Does that mean she's going to win? Not always, but you know what type of game she's trying to play. And she's like you said, flag is down, come and stop me. Come and stop me.
Erica,
That's what I need to see.
Erica, thank you for saying that because I'm going to keep not to make it about the Fever as our bid for 2025. Thank you.
Let's go. We got a whole new bit. Not to make it about the Fever, not to make it about Caitlin Clark. But come on. Also, I'm gonna address this because I addressed it publicly on social media, but they ain't holler back. Listen. When you make a comparison or when you put out a statement on social media and someone replies to that statement, adding more context, that doesn't mean they're disagreeing with you. That means that they are taking information that is made public and they are adding their layer to it. And so I say this all the time. Stewie and Sab are experiencing everything that Kelsey Plum experienced her rookie year. And those are only the most recent ones. But don't come at me, the host of Gotta Get Up, a podcast for New York Liberty fans, trying to act like I don't hold it down for Sab. You know what I don't do? I'm not delusional. I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm going to bring in context from history. And so I'll call Sab unquick while also saying the keys got to go to her. I could do both. I'm good like that. So don't come at me. Don't come at me on social media talking about, oh, well, that's really funny because when I was talking about Sabrina, Erica was quick to talk about Kelsey Plum. Yeah, because there's parallels. Thank you. Both played in the Pac-12. Triple-double threats all the time. Got injured in their rookie year with an ankle injury. That changed the trajectory of their career early. And now both are on perennial powerhouses in the W. Sounds pretty freaking similar to me.
Original Pac-12, you are always in our hearts.
That's it. There has only been 2 coaches in the Joe and Clara era. How many under Dolan? Talking about not learning from mistakes. First of all, we've got a longer runway on one side than the other.
Yeah.
And
then
that first coach.
Yeah, it was a hey, big guy. How about you go that way?
Yeah. We listen.
Yeah. We don't talk about Bruno.
We don't talk. No. We don't talk about Bruno. Not in these parts, because I had a lot to say when he was hired. And I'm gonna pull a Brian on this. We just gonna keep that. We'll keep it cute. We're gonna keep it cute. I already went off on a lot of things. We're gonna keep it cute. We might talk about that in the off season. But
hey,
the basketball genius has left the building. The basketball genius has left the building. That's all I got to say about that. And that's all we're going to say on today's episode, because we got to get ready. Brian, I know you already in New York. You got back from Central Time Zone. I'm still here in Central Time Zone at Black Rosie headquarters, but I will be in New York tomorrow. No injuries to report from either team. We're not throwing in the towel. It ain't happening.
Everybody's up. Everybody ready to rock and roll.
Everybody's up. Everybody's ready, and everybody better be ready to empty the tank and then some. I need you to hit your wall and then go for 40 more minutes.
Yeah. Tomorrow's to make it briefly about us in media, the party's gonna get started for shoot around in the morning, and I'm like, the bad part about being back home, if you can call it bad, is that my house isn't close to Barclays Center like the hotel was to Target Center. So I said, I could walk 15 minutes, take a picture of that Prince mural, then go do what I need to do, and then go elsewhere. Now I gotta go here, me and the train have to be reacquainted tomorrow. It is not. I liked my vacation away from you, MTA. It was great not to be around you, and now I see you, you see me. How about we come to an agreement and you do what you need to do for me? I need it.
That's
I need
it.
it so I need it more than you
Let's
can
go.
ever imagine.
That's it. That's it. Like, go get this. It's not gonna, you're not gonna be it's not guaranteed. Nobody cares about who your owner was, is, could be in the future.
Yep,
Nobody cares. Go get it. Go get it. Not in the dang weekend repairs. Yeah, you better look out for that Sunday schedule. And actually, I'm taking an early flight. So I'll miss shoot around. I'll miss shoot around, unfortunately.
Also, I feel like they've seen our mugs so much, talking to them about every old thing under the sun, and it's like, dang, y'all back again? Yes, we are here.
Team 5. Where did you think we would be? We showed up. We pulling up.
Yes.
I mean, I will not be at shoot around, but I will be at the pregame. I'll be there.
We there.
Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.
Yeah, we got our cameras,
mercies.
we got our computers, our notebooks. We're
ready to go.
We got everything.
Locked and loaded.
It's gonna be a full house, and you know, Erica, can I be some folks that we don't see very frequently? I'm betting they're gonna be here. They'll be here. Hey. It's it's the happening. You got your things to file. You got your things to do. Hey, let's talk. I know you like ratings talk for some of you out there. They doing great numbers. You can write about that. Don't. Not to make it about redacted.
Well, it's gonna be, the first question is gonna be, so we saw the numbers come in from the finals, but Stewie, what do you think the numbers would have been if redacted was playing in the finals? She's gonna be like, what? Yeah.
Like, anyway. Also, just because I'm completely on a roll right now. I was in game 3 when Cheryl and Fee had to correct the pronunciation of
Nafisa.
I was like one row in front of the questioner, and like it's like what I do, Erica. Sometimes I think you see it. Like whenever someone behind me asks a question, I just do this. I completely get out the way so you can look at them, because I feel like if it's something that gets on their nerve and it's like they're looking at me.
Don't look at me. I didn't say that.
Hey, I didn't do it. Let me just move so you can lock in with the person who asked you that, so you can really point your fury and fire that way.
That's it. Damien, you do what you got to do. Either way, we gonna be here. So you can show up or not. It's fine. Wish you well if you decide to move on. If you come back, we'll be here to.
Can I say that for a quick second?
Go for it.
I do that with the Mets a lot, where I'm like, you've hurt me for the last time. I'm not coming back. And then tomorrow, who's in front of that television? Me.
See, that's interesting, because that's how I was with the Knicks. I ain't been a Knicks fan since the 90s.
Erica,
because I was like, I can only take so much heartache from the orange and blue. And I made a choice. I chose the Mets. That's who I chose. And I've been with the Liberty, and I'm loyal. I don't know. I could talk a lot of crap. I could say a lot of things, but I ain't wavering, and I'm not throwing in nobody's damn towel. So you can do what you want to do. It's cool. But we gonna be here. We gonna be here.
We hear the
not with or without you. Not me hearing this in.
Oh God, the song is playing in my head now.
I know, right? I'm like, with or without you. With or without you. Oh man, all 70 of y'all family date night. Oh man, that's a lot, Daryl. That's a lot. Also appreciate the super chat, Daryl. Thank you. We are monetized now, so y'all can always drop some love for us. But it is a travel day for me tomorrow, Brian. We gotta get a good night's sleep. Because either way, we're gonna be up all night.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yep.
Either way, we're gonna be up all night.
Up all night in glory or up all night in depression.
Exactly.
The choice is yours.
Exactly. Just being like, can we just stay here for exit interviews? Like, come on, we not going nowhere, or we not leaving because the champagne's still popping.
Yeah.
So,
or if it goes the wrong way for the Liberty, cameras off. I know a spot on the house. Don't worry about it. Don't
that's
worry about
it.
it.
That's it.
We got you.
We already know where we're gonna be after the game. Period.
Yes, sir.
We know exactly where we're gonna be after the game. But all right, we're gonna let y'all go. We don't know what's gonna happen. We're absolutely nervous, but we not throwing in no towel.
Yeah.
We not
We don't-
throwing in no towel.
We don't run.
That's it. At 8 p.m. we ride. Let's go. Hope y'all are ready. Hope y'all are ready. Let's go. I'm not even see now you brought my other team into this, Damien. You just trying to. Sometimes I feel like you like my daddy. Sometimes just trying to get a reaction out of me. Trying to get a react. That's what my dad used to do. I'd be like, come on, just say you want to have a conversation. You ain't got to get me all worked up. Just say you want to talk. I'll sit there and talk with you. But you do the thing to get me mad. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Nah.
This is not a podcast for Mets fans, even though you talking to two right here. Let that go. We're gonna let that go. I'm putting all my eggs in the Liberty basket right now. That's it. That's what we focused on.
And then I feel like once they play the theme song, it's like my brain is gonna activate, and it's like, just rock your hands like this.
Let's go. Let's go. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. I'll be doing some stuff with Tarika Foster Brasby before the game on CBS Sports HQ. So make sure you check that out. Brian's going to have you covered for shoot around. So the local W's always got you covered there. And, either way, we'll get you something after the game.
It's been a hell of a ride.
It's been a hell of a ride. And we're going to have a good time. Ronnie, nice chatting with y'all. Go Liberty. That's it. Got to get up. We got to get up and over the hump tomorrow. That's what we're going to do. But for Brian Fleurantin, Erica L. Ayala here, and it's time to Ellie wave. Peace out, everybody. Wave, wave, wave.